Now we will be hearing from Clara, and she will be talking about how to build a community and sustain long-term financial stability as a fact-checking organization. And this is really important because she's representing the organization that has been awarded with the crowdfunding campaign of IFCM this year. So I think her story and her ambitions to build a community around fact-checking is really important for us today. So thanks so much, Clara, for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me. And first of all, thanks to you, Vibers, and to Cristina for having organized this great event, even on a different time zone for several months. Thank you very much. So this is the fancy name I chose for my presentation. I'm actually going to be talking, if this works, about money. So we did a crowdfunding. We raised 77,000 euros in over a month or so. We had 1,600 backers for the crowdfunding. And this is basically because we were able to build a whole community before we raised the money. There are two things that I think are basic for this. One of them is building that community, having people that trust you, building it in a specific way that I'm going to tell you about now. And second of all, having a good strategy for crowdfunding, which is something many of us have done. I'm going to tell you which strategy did we follow to see if it helps you at some point. So before getting to all this is something I put up all the time to explain how we understand community. I don't know if this has happened to you, but when I started in journalism, I was an intern at a TV station, and no one challenged me to listen to the audience. We basically talked to the audience, but we didn't get any feedback back. What happened was that in 2011, very bad with numbers in English, very bad. In 2011, I was 22 years old. I was an intern at a TV station. And suddenly, I started seeing on social media that there was a protest taking place in the center of Madrid that seemed like a pretty big deal on social media. So I went to my editor and I told him, I think something's happening here. Maybe we should go and see what's going on. And they were like, nah, it's just another demonstration. Well, that demonstration turned into a one-month campsite in the main square of Madrid that changed the whole political environment in Spain thereafter. We needed to listen to the audience. And that's something that I've been perceiving throughout my career, which is we're talking on a level in which journalists talk, politicians talk, informed citizens are, but then there's a huge conversation going down here that we're not addressing. And we need to listen to that conversation in order to understand how we can build a community. I'm going to go back here. In Maldita, we call our community Malditas and Malditos. It's kind of cheesy. Yeah, well, it's what we chose, and it works. And they determine, and that listening to that conversation determines how we talk to them, the format and the tone that we use, the channels we use to talk to them, and what we talk about. I'm going to set you some examples about this. How we talk to them and the formats we use. You know our format. It's been there for the last year. It's not the fanciest format ever, but everyone understands it. It's quickly. You can check it on your cell phone. And then we do other things, like use a lot of GIFs and do memes and talk about getting water in your ass and finding out if it's good or bad. These are the type of things that we do. And this leads us to reach new audiences. For example, this year we had a show on a satirical show. We had a segment, and we were doing fact-checking on a satirical show, which is a new way of talking to new people and reaching new audiences and creating that community. We go to the channels where people are. We're talking about Twitter a lot here, but for Spain, Twitter is nothing. There are 4.9 million people on Twitter in Spain, and most of the conversation is on WhatsApp. So we changed our strategy. We stopped talking so much on Twitter. We went and worked on WhatsApp a lot more. back here, I was telling you that this also determines what we talk about. And I know that we love to fact-check politicians, and that's what we believe is important for the general population, for communication, for politics, etc. But the thing is that there's a lot of people that are not reading us because we don't reach them, because they have no interest in what we're telling them. So we need to address their conversation in order to take them to the upper level of the conversation, because many of them are actually not understanding what we're talking about up there. These are the two most read articles in Maldita. There are two pieces of disinformation. One is a WhatsApp chain. These are the numbers. One is a WhatsApp chain that was about a kid that fell into a hole, and there was a WhatsApp chain going around saying that the parents had put him there because they were trafficking with drugs and blah, 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 all fake. This is the other one. I don't know if this reached your country, but it's basically a hoax that tells you that if you see the sneaker gray and green, it's that you're thinking with one side of your brain. If you see it pink and white, you're thinking with the other. Not true. Not the most relevant fact-checking we've done, but it's what people visited. So our strategy is basically, we answer whatever they ask us for, and if a lot of people are sending that in and asking if it's true or false, well, it's not high intellectual work, but you need to solve it. And then we're trying to explain things for a better understanding of the upper conversation, so that the people that disconnected from journalism a long time ago, because they actually have no idea what the people up there are talking about, regain into the conversation through us. We're answering questions like, how does the vote counting work? Which is something that no one addressed in Spain in general for the time I've been around, at least. And that needed answers. And those are the kind of questions that we were getting through WhatsApp. Let's answer them. And when you get people to come to your webpage because you're answering their questions, they stay for the rest of it. And this is an example. In June 2018, we had 220,000 unique users. In May this year, we had 1.5 million. It's growth because we built that community. But you need to do something else in order to get them to actually, for example, put money in a crowdfunding. You need to engage with them. And to engage with them, you need to give them a purpose. This might probably vary from one organization to the other. We chose our purpose. They are our army for the truth. And that's how we treat them. We tell them that we need to fight a battle against misinformation and against politicians lying, and we need them on our side, and we need them to be our army. And how do we do this? Because you can say it, but you need to make them do something, right? We've put them into our fact-checking processes. In the detection part, obviously, we all crowdsource misinformation, especially in countries where WhatsApp is so relevant. You need people to actually actively send you stuff. We get around 250 WhatsApp messages every day from our community denouncing whatever's going viral within their WhatsApp. We need them spreading the fact checks, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But we've got them into our debunking processes also. We call it superpowers. We call them malditos. We obviously call this superpowers. And it's very interesting because we all know that we need experts in different fields. Sometimes we need someone to explain to us how a machine works when we are fact-checking something. And we do not have that expertise within our newsrooms. And we can always make calls like we've always done. But in a way of engaging with your community, you can bring them in and see what expertise they have to see if you can make a use of that. And one of the things that I've found that are very interesting is that that creates a lot of diversity within the information you're doing. I don't know if this happens in every country, but in Spain, there are basically 4 experts on politics that go on TV, and they're the same 4 in every channel, in every radio station, in every newspaper. So it happens, right? Well, if you can crowdsource your community to see if there's anyone there that's a political expert, that's a new voice, that has a different kind of expertise than the ones you're getting every day. Maybe we can tell news stories in a different way. I'm going to set some examples of the guys we have on our side. These are our Malditos Geodoctor. They're two doctors who actually draw very good comics. So they have two superpowers, right? And they came up to us and they were like, we want to contribute to Maldita and we want to put our superpowers to your service. And we actually also need Maldita because we like drawing comics about science and diseases and whatever, but we don't know what the people need to know, which Maldita does because we were listening. So we basically text them and tell them, we need you guys to do a comic about this. And they're like, okay, I'll do the research, I'll do the drawings, and we get these wonderful pieces of information. We do other stuff, and it depends on how much people want to engage with us. We do it in one way or another. For example, we did this video with Jimenez, who's an expert in food, and explained to us what food packaging really means, which is, again, something that I, as a political journalist, might not have chosen as a topic, but it's something that people actually like and like to know about and get a better understanding of the world. Or Eduardo. Eduardo is a doctor. We wanted him to explain to us an issue about a recipe. And he was like, okay, but I want to make a video. And we were like, we hadn't thought about this, but that's very cool that you want to make a video. So we explained to him how he had to do it. Like, get a place with light, not the best place he chose, but it's okay. Get a place with some light. We wrote a script with him. We told him, you need to put your cell phone like this so that afterwards we can set it up. And it worked. And these are the kind of things that we are doing with our community. Obviously, this is kind of easy because we knew them, like they approached us in an event. But if you want to involve your whole community, we have 15,000 Malditos right now. If you want to get them involved, you need to organize them a bit. So we developed a CRM in which we make the payments and everything that any CRM does, but we also have a spot for superpowers, and we are getting a lot of people putting their superpowers into the CRM so that we can cross them and see, for example, I need someone speaking Russian in Valencia. You can find it. I need a doctor that works at this specific hospital because there's been a problem there, and I need to investigate it. You can find it. If it's within your community, you will be able to find it. And we get very different things of expertise, from doctors to teachers to experts in development to people that speak different languages, that it's something that comes very at hand when we need it, to a nun that offered to help us with religious matters. Well, we might need to use her at some point. And then we also use them to spread the fact checks. And this is extremely important because we're talking about social media a lot, and we tweet our stuff, and we put it on Facebook, but we need to get here. And there's only a bunch of people that can get us there, and that's our community. We're not going to be able to get to private conversations, which is good. So we need people going back to their groups, and these are, most of them, family groups that captures that people send to us to tell us that they're using our debunkings and they're empowering us by getting into those places which we would never get otherwise. So you create an engaged and committed community that feels part of what you do and finds you useful. And then when you ask for money, it will come. Because they think you're important, because you're a part of their life, of the way they work, of the way they do things. But you also need a strategy. And if you've made a crowdfunding campaign, it's very tiring. It takes a lot of your time, and you have to run the crowdfunding campaign while you're doing all the rest of the job. So you need a strategy to run it. What we did is that we made a survey to get to know our community. We asked all types of questions. We asked, what do you think your superpower is? Would you contribute with it to Maldita? Do you know us because you listen to us on the radio? Do you know us because you read our fact checks? Did someone send you a fact check through WhatsApp? Whatever. A bunch of questions. And we also asked one crucial question. We asked people to define Maldita in one word, because we needed to know how we were perceived by our community in order to run our crowdfunding campaign with a strategy. This is what we got. We chose some of the most used words: useful, trustworthy, verified, facts, and battle. We had made a point with the battle. And we basically ran a political campaign with these words. I don't know the background of each of you. I was a political journalist, and I know how to run a political campaign because I've lived them every day. And there's a part of it which is use your keywords and make a discourse with it. And that's what we did, basically. We did a bunch of other stuff. But we did a campaign on disinformation, and Maldita shedding light in a battle that's trustworthy with facts to get it done. We also involved the whole team in our crowdfunding campaign because, as I told you, you have to be doing the job at the same time that you're doing the crowdfunding, so you need as many hands as you can get. And that for us was our whole team. But also, you need to explain people what your work consists of in order for them to understand why you need money to pay yourself. Because otherwise they might be like, well, you're just doing your job. Yeah, but my job entails a bunch of different stuff that I need you to understand. It's not just writing an article or making a video. It's much more behind it. So we got every person in the team to explain how they did the job every day, the different parts that they had to go through to explain it well. We did events around the country, and we streamed them all because we had much bigger impact when we streamed them. And we did a lot of Q&A on social media because, again, if people are giving you money, they need to know what it's for. And they have thousands of questions, like how much do you need to pay your journalists? Are you going to get a nicer office? Whatever. We didn't, of course. Invested in journalism, not in offices. Then there's also, I'm going to stop here because I think this is kind of important. We all like to have a mug, right? Like when we receive a mug, we're very happy, and it's like cool merchandising. But when you're doing the crowdfunding, having a mug means paying for the mug, paying for the mailing. Half of the mugs that you send are going to break. This is going to happen. And you still have to send a lot of rewards to all the people that contributed with you because, well, it's a compromise you got and you like it. But there are some rewards that you can do that are not actually material and that mean a lot to the people that contributed to our crowdfunding. For example, we told them that we were going to do this poster that we hung up in our newsroom with all the names of all the contributors. And people actually come to our office and they're like, I'm going to look for my name. And they go there and they look for them. Or this, which is a wonderful drawing that the guys from Jo Doctor did for us, kindly enough. And we just sent this in a PDF. And people started tweeting it like, I got my Funda Maldita diploma. I'm so happy. It's cool. It's good for the campaign. It's good for everything. And that's where I'm going to stop. We turn our crowdfunding into a membership model right now. And here we are, getting superpowers.
I think you really have superpowers. Thank you so much, Clara. And if you are willing to know more about ISN's crowdfunding campaign, this is a an activity and an opportunity that we provide to the verified signatories, and it's an application basis where IFCM provides a support that matches the crowdfunding that the organization collects. So it's really helpful, and it's great to see that it's being used in such a creative way. So thanks so much.